This is my father, Edward VIII. This is my uncle George, the illegal sixth King of England. And this is Roosevelt and his family. All these people got in on my kidnapping and the illegal takedown of my father, which I've posted. And I want to get this done today. I'm in bad health, and man, were they working me over. They were working me over before I found out my name and about my kidnapping in '83 and got in a political campaign and was flown out to Flint's, who had been shot in all this. It's like a conundrum, a puzzle that's put together. It really shows how bad people can be here. There are some good ones, and I found those on Facebook. So I certainly don't include them in this mess. They use, first of all, I'm kidnapped, is who my father is, and the lies and the takedown of him and the treaties that are illegal that allowed the United States to come in and take everything British, even their monarch, and install your own monarch, George VI, and then Elizabeth, etc., who sold out her country and sold out my father and me and my children. And God help them. I hope they burn in hell and pay for their crimes. Now, I'm going to get to this. I mean, they almost killed me. The Brits saved me then, and the Germans, and some Americans. But it's been ongoing. My life has been nothing but hell. And my kids, I don't know where they are. I hope it's told. I really do. It's so ugly, and to have been done in plain sight, begging the lot of work for me. And if I say anything good, last night I tried to tell the connection about the FBI investigation and what was said. If they've kept me alive, and they probably have, but it was hell, and there's a lot of things that they don't want told, believe me. So, here I go. I'm so sick right now, I'm going to have to, I don't know. I'm kept penniless, I'm allergic to chemicals, toxic, and I've told it over and over to give people information, and what most people do with it here in this country, they already know, and they dismiss it as, I'm a joke. It doesn't matter. I didn't commit 9/11. I didn't hurt you people at all. In fact, my kidnapping brought loads of noodles of money in here, brought Werner von Braun across to help build NASA, the Space Center. God knows where the ransom money has been filtered through the Rockefellers into charities, into looking good for them, like the Shriners and the Scottish Rites. It's been poured in. My life has been running from one hell to the other just to live. Now, I want to get to this because these are a part of it, of what's going on right now. I want to remind you, I'm putting this up so that it's a record of sorts. When I came here in '86, I know that, was his name John Warner, that was married to Elizabeth Taylor, and he was FBI agent, then he retired and became governor. I don't know if he became governor, a senator from Virginia. He was married to Elizabeth Taylor, who had been married to Richard Burton. By the way, Richard Burton was murdered, and yes, indeed, he was. So, I want to get to this, though. I don't know why I threw that in, because it does fit in some other ways, too. As far as I know, I don't know. Let me just go on. The governors here who became senators, and they were here when I came in here in '86, they became governors and on up to senators now. And Tim McCain was a former governor. Then he became senator. Now he's VP candidate with Hillary Clinton. Now you tell me these people, they all know about me. Of course they do. They know about the mind control murders, etc. Okay, I want to go back to this and I'm going to try to read it, a little of it. I've put it up, but this is a lot of what's going on here. Bob Goodlatte was over the Agriculture Committee, which is over the National Forest, and that puts him over the law enforcement. He was on a committee and he was head of it, the Agriculture Committee. I went into his office, and I'll repeat this, his and John Edwards, who's a state senator. They both know about my kidnapping. They know about my real name. They know about the mind control murders. For them to lie and say they don't, says they don't get their head out of the sand one time. They're lying. They wouldn't be able or fit to do their job. I've got so much done to me. What have I got to lose? What they're doing to me. Okay, Tim Kaine is up there with Hillary Clinton. He's a Democrat. He is a senator now, ex-governor. And the rest of them are Democrats. I said that about Bob Goodlatte. He's gone on up till he's over or in the intelligence and judicial committees, way up there. Now then, back the last time I went to his office here in Roanoke for help, and it's next door to Virginia Senator Edwards. They both know it. I'd been in and out of their offices many times, and they totally believe it. There's no not believing it. The fact they got involved in it, I don't know anyway. The last time I went, they're side by sides, their office were anyway, and I've said it before. I came out and got on the elevator, and a man came out of Goodlatte's office, is right in front of the elevator, and said to me, if Senator Goodlatte helps you, he'll be living in the forest with you. So now he's way on up. I want to read this because they've run me, broken the law, all kinds of law. It's hideous. You talk about terrorism and torture, psychological, physically, everything. They've done it continuously. I mean, there's so many laws broken in plain sight. It's sick. Now then, this was back, and someone who had seen my YouTubes from out of state handed it to me back this is 8/15/14. Okay, Sonny Shaw, and by the way, one of the marshals had said this to me too. He knew all about Sonny and the Patels. They're from India. Okay, it used to be a British colony, and 15 or 16 years ago it became independent. Now, downtown Roanoke, they just dismiss me, the hell with me. They have all kinds of activities inviting different cultures into Roanoke. I had a man who I assume was a journalist sit down beside me about 3 months ago, just before the killings down in Orlando, the shootings, which has something to do with all this, the programming, but a lot more. He said to me, people outside and here also in Roanoke think it's a good place to live and they're nice people. And he made the statement, I've forgotten his exact words, but he said, I know like you, they're not. So now I want to just read their names. Everything's Sunny, SSUNNY, for local entrepreneur with grand opening of new hotels. They own everything around here in Roanoke, in hotels, convenience stores they used to. They've amassed a fortune, and it should be looked into. I've been told there's a lot of things illegal in how they got the loans, etc., etc. Anyway, Patels have done the same thing. They have become so wealthy. And he was actually, I was told, sent here. His family was from India to try and help me. Well, they amassed all this, and I'll repeat this. Back at, this is 94, when I had scraped together some money and got an apartment paid for a month. It was a budget inn motel. And I stayed there for a few nights in November of '84, I think. And he was a Patel. They're all related. They bring the rest of the family and the rest of the family over and put them in business with small business loans. Okay, he a few days after I paid for a month, he came up and said, "I'm going to start remodeling." Well, he knew I was allergic to chemicals, how bad it makes me feel, and attacked my immune system. I called the police. They came, and actually, one policeman came. Actually, was going to arrest me. He said, and put my hands behind me, and the handcuffs on me. And he said, "It'll be you that gets arrested." So you see why I don't go, and this has continued over the years without law enforcement. You see why I can't do anything. I can't get an attorney. All right. When he left, he said, "You're the one that'll leave." And I said, "Could I at least get some of my money back?" And he said, "No." So the policeman left, and Patel said to me, "We're Americans. We live here now. We're Americans. We have to do what they tell us to do." So they have to commit crimes because someone told them to. And that's what they've done, believe me, continuously, and got wealthy off of it. They're attorneys, they are psychiatrists, they are doctors, lawyers. Shocking? You should check. I know Patel is like Smith in America, okay? But these Patels are related now and should be held accountable. But here are some of the Virginia senators, okay? You got Edwards, who I just mentioned. You've got Tim Kaine, all right? That's with Hillary Clinton now. He's VP. Mark Warner, Bob Goodlatte. It goes on and on here. All these people know all this. Now then, I do want to put the rest of this up too. There's all kinds of charges they should face in prison like the common criminals they are. I wanted to get into Anastasia, who's a cousin of mine, and this only has a couple of minutes left. When I drove a Hustler car in '84 that Larry Flint had leased, and I never saw him again, I kept the car for a year. On May the 4th of '84, I drove through Charlottesville, Virginia. I never thought I'd be here in Roanoke, Virginia, about 60 miles away. I just started learning about my kidnapping, and then I started being able to remember some things back when I was brought over here at age 2. And I had the radio on. It was a little Aries Dodge that was leased for me. And I heard where Anastasia died. She was murdered. She had been locked up in Blue Ridge mental health. She had been tortured. The mental health system is what they're using as a war game now and mind control. She was tortured to death. Her husband, Manahan, was a professor at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. He drove his car into the fence trying to get her out, and he couldn't. They flat killed the woman. Hadn't she been through enough hell? Now then, you have to get the names that get involved in this, and I can't give it. I'm about to run out of time. The woman was flat murdered. Then people should see what happened to Manahan, her husband after then, and their estates, who it went to, got control of it. And I'm going to have to go, or this won't go up. The man who was friends and worked for Anastasia and her husband and their farm in Scottsville all those years, somehow he found me. They had, after Anna died, this is back a few years ago, he handed me court documents you will never see from the Charlottesville court. And that's where there were members of, I don't know if they were the Romanovs or what, that did come over here, which proves she's Anastasia, and tried, this is after she died though, but they did try, and there was about 60 pages of this filed in the court, and when I tried to Xerox it over and give it to the media, They did nothing with it. They didn't do their jobs. They did nothing, and I'm going to have to go.